Good morning. How's everyone? Oh, so delighted to be here with you this wonderful morning. For those of you who are with us live or on the replay, I just want to shout out to say best of everything this day and all the days that follow. How are you? Please say hello and good morning if you're here live. Let me know where you're coming in from, what city. Even tell me what's the weather like where you are. I'd love to hear from you. So today, I want to ask you, uh, do your goals feel off track or irrelevant with the changes happening in your life? I get it. I've been there too. But what if your life transitions were a chance to create better goals? Today, I'll share how to make goals that fit the real you, even during chaotic times, because it's all about taking what we know as the classic SMART goals, SMART, and doing and adding what matters most, your values, with the lessons you've learned. I call it the insight framework for doing goals. I'll talk more about that later. And so let me pause here and just say good morning. I see folk from Texas, from Detroit. Oh, and it's hot. New Jersey, my hometown, is from New Jersey, Neptune, New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore. Denver, how are you? It is hot. I know in some places, 92. Oh my goodness, hot in the hundreds in Texas, Dr. Pierce. Oh my goodness. Good seeing you all. So, today, as I said, I want to talk about how life transitions shape our goals. You see, I've been a successful leader my whole adult life, rising through the ranks in my career, being a loving mother and wife, raising millions of dollars for community initiatives. But throughout my 50s and 60s, I started wondering, now what? I struggled emotionally and felt completely overwhelmed when I was in that 50, them middle years. Lost my husband to cancer, said goodbye to children who moved on to new, wonderfully independent adult lives and out of my pocketbook, cared for, then buried my parents, became a grandmother, got scared about retiring, wanted to start my own business, a lifelong dream, but didn't have the confidence to step out there. I noticed my body wasn't as quick to recover as it was when I was in my 30s. Found gray hairs and then asked myself, what's this perimenopausal thing? I knew I wasn't done yet, but I was confused about how to make the moves for a vibrant next chapter, that second half of my life. So, I want to say hello to those of you who I may not know. I'm Dr. Geneva, mentor and strategist for leaders who want to elevate their success and impact. And I can tell you, dealing with these life changes definitely impacted my life. But the key for me was realizing that these transitions, while painful, gave me new insights into what matters most now. I use that wisdom to shape goals aligned with this life stage that I was in. So instead of forcing the old goals that no longer fit, I created goals infused with my values in transitions, the things that I was learning, that I was experiencing. And this brought, frankly, new direction and purpose and an enlightenment for me. And so that's why today I wanted to share this personalized goal setting approach that I use, that I discovered in my midlife. And I really hope it helps you also, um, you know, be better at turning life's changes into opportunities to thrive in your second half life journey. So, we as high achieving women have spent decades crushing goals at work, home, and beyond. But major life changes do shake some things up. When our roles transform after kids leave, or spouses leave, or pass, these old goals can feel stale. Or when we've got health challenges, and, when that happens, our priorities can shift over these messy middle years that we need goals that can flex and, grow with our real lives. Goals based on who we're becoming, not who we used to be. Okay. Should I say that again? I mean, you know what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you can relate to what I'm saying here, that we need to develop those plans, those goals, those action steps based on who we're becoming and not what we used to be or who we used to be. Goals that are fueled by what matters most now, not what society or others expect. So, with a strategic vision and a mindset, we can see transitions as opportunities to evolve, moments to reconnect with our core selves and shape an exciting new chapter. So let me pause here, and because I'm looking at all the yeses that are coming in. Yep, life changes, and thus so do our priorities and goals. Yes, 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 I'm seeing. And that's the truth. And so it really is about figuring out who we're becoming and looking ahead. And that's why I believe that doing goal setting in our midlife, which I think is the prime, is so important to get it right. And it's how we take charge and rewrite what we're going to do next and own it. So, I've talked about transition and goals, and I want to just spend just a moment on some myths about this subject, because I think it's so important for us to dispel the misconceptions about things, to open up our mind and help with this mind shift that we need to go through. And the first myth is that major transition or changes in our life means starting over with a blank slate. Absolutely not. You don't have to abandon what you've been doing, your existing goals. Transitions let you redefine and realign your goals to what matters most now. And they're built on the experiences that you have and the insights and lessons. Pain, yes, insights too, that you've gotten from these transitions. Another myth is that one size fits all goals work for every life stage. No, no. Effective goals do align with your unique values, personality, and your current changes. You do. That's why they call them life stages. They're, the things that you felt were important and you did and you dealt with in your 20s. I don't think you're doing or feeling the same way about those things in your 50s. So there's a change every time we go through a life change. 20 years, 30, 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, things are changing. And so the goals that you put together when you were a 20-year-old, they're not the same goals. They probably aren't going to work and be the same size fit for when you're 60. And the third myth that I want to derail is that transitions derail your goals, that they mess them up. And really, transitions can provide fresher perspectives to evolve your goals. They offer opportunities for growth, not just disruption. In my own, you know, time as I was losing loved ones through the pain, I realized that I needed to take better care of myself, my own health. Pain, transition, change gave me that insight. So, dispelling these myths, I think, is very powerful because it means embracing change as a catalyst for self discovery. Your goals can flex and shift while building on your achievements and the things you've done and the things that you want to do. And with the right mindset, transitions can help you reinvent your goals and craft an exciting new chapter. And so, again, that's why I want to put these myths out so that you can look at them, think about, get rid of them, so they can help, shift that mind shift. Now, I've been talking about transitions. Let's stop for a moment and level set so that we have a common understanding about what I mean when I talk about and how I define life transition. And I do it in three buckets, three ways. One are the career shifts. Now, these are major changes in your professional path, like starting a business after working for a company, somebody else for years, or leaving a stable job to start or launch a startup, or taking on bigger leadership roles like moving from director to VP. I remember when I started my entrepreneurship journey, when I started my business, it was a lifelong dream. I finally started to do it. I moved from that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks to something that didn't come in every 2 weeks. And that was a major shift, career shift. I mean, that was a whole lot of different shifts in there, money shift, and a lot of shifts going on with that one. But again, it was a change, a major change in my professional path. Another bucket or group of transitions are the personal ones. Significant changes in your personal life, like relationships, lifestyle, or even your own self-perception, how you're viewing yourself, like navigating widowhood after decades of marriage. And, that happened with me, 40 years being married, wonderful, adventuresome, challenging, all of that, but it was a long time with an individual, 40 years. And making, then boom, becoming a widow, major transition, or overcoming an illness like cancer, or relocating to a new city or country. We all have these personal changes. Write an amen if you've had personal transformation, personal change, and it really can affect you. Let me see who's out there. I know you got these changes. And the third change that I want to drop on you for you to think about as we talk about and define what these life transitions are age related changes. Transitions, changes that come with different life stages, especially relating to aging. You know, retiring, but feeling adrift. Saying, "Oh, I just can't wait till I retire. I want to then do what I want to do," and then find yourself, well, what is it I'm supposed to do? what's next, and you're adrift, or becoming a grandparent. That's a whole new experience. Or selling your family home as your mobility or your parents' mobility decreases, and caring for elderly parents. So these are the age related transition and changes that occur. Now, I know somebody here got at least one, okay, at least one of these changes that has happened. And I bet you have several, like a bunch of them, these transitions. And even though in our 20s or 30s we go through things, hey, when you get in your 40s, 50s, 60s, that's when you experience so many of these changes. And that's why I think it's so important for us to dispel the myths. And I think I saw a comment in here about what's that first myth that I was talking about. And so I'll just, again, the myths that major transitions mean starting over with a blank slate. So, Catherine, I hope that answered your question. Starting over with a blank slate is a myth, that when you have these transitions that you have to start from scratch. No, in fact, it's the opposite, because you really need to build on your experiences that you've had. And the second myth, that one size fits all for every stage of your life, we've talked about, and that transitions can derail your goals and get you off track, or put those things that you've dreamed about to the side. And so the key, so I want you to see these changes and transitions as pivots, as opportunities for change, to evolve and to set your goals. And these objectives and goals now will reflect the new insight and lessons learned, that the test that you've had, that you can gain from those experiences. So now I want to talk about, just for a moment, just take a few examples, and so you can understand what I'm talking about when I say that when we get to crafting our goals in our midlife, that we want to build on our values and on our experiences. So I want to give you some examples in what I'm talking about. And I mentioned that I've worked a lot for years. I've worked with the SMART goals method, specific, you all know it: specific, measurable, achievable, relatable or relevant, and time bound. And this is a very traditional, effective way to set goals. You get your goals and then you measure them against the standards of being specific, measurable, etc. Well, I like to, what I discovered, and I developed this framework when I was using the SMART method, which I have for years. And I'll just say, a lot of my training and education has been in goal setting and using this. And this is a lot of this I use with the women leaders and clients that I work with. And again, if you want to work with me, remember to go over to elevatenextlevelsuccess.com. You can go to LinkedIn. You'll see my picture, and right underneath my picture, it says join my community. And if you're interested in exploring, how to do better goal setting, how you can, shift your thinking in terms of these life transitions so that you can reinvent and reinvigorate yourself, I'm there to help you do that. And one of the things I've developed and I work with my clients on is this insight framework, which, while you work through the SMART standards of SMART goals, that you also then put them in the framework and look at it from the perspective of my insight framework. And let me share what it is. And that is that the in means infusing your goals with what you value most. The S is for seeing transition as opportunities for self reflection. The G, gaining insight into your true priorities. That A, applying that wisdom, as fuel for change and tailoring your objectives to who you're becoming. And so this insight and tailoring and building on um, your experience is so very critical. So it's that insight framework that I talk about. And so it turns your goal setting into a more dynamic process that leverages your values and experience and your new self knowledge. So let's look at a couple of examples. So if you wanted to start a life coaching business, and this is something that I did, so I share that one first. Okay. If you wanted to start a life coaching business tailored to um, professionals, um, that's a specific, okay, so that's a specific goal. Start a life coaching business for professionals. What's measurable is that I decided to launch a website and have social media presence within a 2-month period and then track my analytics. Okay. Then looking at whether it's achievable, I decided to leverage the existing professional network I had to gain clients and let people know that I was out there. The relevancy part of this goal of starting a life coaching business, by the way, in my late 60s, um, was relevant because it aligned with my values of purposeful work and flexibility. And it was time bound because I decided to do all the legal stuff that I had to do to start my business in month 1 and 2, and then have a launch, a soft launch in month 3. And so as I worked through those goals, I used the SMART examples, it's SMART process. But what this did also was that I used the insight that I had gained from my career in working with hundreds of individuals through transformation. Now, that was transformation in neighborhoods and communities and with schools. But some of the principles were still the same in terms of setting vision, setting goals, collaborating, teamwork, being able to have, communicate a vision, etc. But leveraging what I had learned, the insight I had gained from those things in my career, I shaped my goals accordingly. Do you see where I'm trying to get? So that you use your SMART, your specific, make sure your goals are measurable, they relate, you can achieve them, and you got some time frames. But for us in midlife, we're also going to infuse that looking at goals with the insights and experiences and our values that we've gained from our life transition. Y'all with me? Let me know if you're with me. I'm gonna give a couple more examples, but let me know if you're understanding the approach that I'm suggesting, that it goes a little deeper in terms of the mindset shift that we need to apply. Okay, so here's another one. Here's perhaps some of you may relate. You may have a goal of strengthening your marriage by planning regular date nights. And some of the clients that I work with, they come to me with, I want to increase my executive presence. I want to do more, get more strategic contacts. I want to move up in my career. But 9 times out of 10, they also have on the list, I want to make more time for my family. I want to spend more time with my spouse. Okay. So this is a real deal situation. Okay. Um, and so let's say that's your goal, that's your goal. So it's very specific. Strengthen my marriage by planning regular date nights. And so I would work with this particular client in having that's specific. That's what I want to tell you. That's how we do specific goals. Okay. And then the measurable piece is aim for one date night per week. All right. Track via shared calendar. Some of y'all may be picking up on these tips now. I'm just using them as examples for how your experiences and insight can relate to the SMART goal system, but you might be picking up some tips here. Okay. Is it achievable? Yes. Take advantage of flexible time because I now have an empty nest, and explored new shared interests. Relevant? Is it relevant? Yes. Investing in my marriage is a priority at this stage of my life. And is time bound? What's the time frame? Implement weekly date nights over the next 3 months. Now, the reason I gave this example, okay, hear me now, is because it shows, it uses the insight and experience gained from the empty nest transition to reinvigorate this particular client's marriage and infuse her goals with quality time with her spouse. So you see what I'm saying? So empty nest can be very painful. Your children, that's when your children leave the home. And, you've spent years focused on doing for them, being for them, everything for them. And then they leave, and it's like, okay, so what do I do next? And many folk go through, depression and really don't, really, it's really difficult. Okay. And so this says, okay, you've learned some insights. There's been some things that happen, and you recognize that what you want to do is to um, take advantage of now looking at the other side of it. You've got flexible time. You want to take advantage of it. You have the opportunity to increase your relationships with your spouse, et cetera, et cetera. So do you see what I'm saying in terms of how this takes us to a different level? So let me know if you're with me. Let me know if you're with me in the comments. Let me give another example of how about retirement? So your goal might be to, if you're facing retirement, to take up creative writing to engage your mind while you're in retirement, or you might decide to write that book. Okay. So that's your specific goal. And, you're going to join a local writing group and you're going to finish drafting a story within 6 months. That's how you're going to measure what you're going to do. You with me? How we're going through the SMART. And then is it achievable? Yeah, because you're going to set some time aside daily to write and enroll in a writing class. And it's relevant because it allows you to tap into your creativity. And if it's that book that you've always wanted to write, and so many of you have come to me and said, I want to write a book. Okay. Um, and I'm saying to you, do it, do it, do it. And this taps into your creativity. And then you put some time frames around it. You're going to join a writing group. You're going to write so many pages a day, etc. And so this example, okay, harnesses the insight from retirement to pursue a new creative hobby that aligns with your evolving priorities. That now you can find the time to live your dreams and you understand how important it is to fulfill your dreams. Because, see, you've gone through the loss of loved ones. You've seen people lose their jobs. You may have lost your job. You may be starting something new. So you have that experience and that insight, and you know that you've got to turn your creativity, even though you're in retirement, you want to turn that creativity in, because today is for you and tomorrow is not known. And you've learned that from your life transitions. You with me? All right. So let me see. Let me give one more related to health. Okay. So you want to set a goal related to your health. And perhaps it's something like prioritize my health and well-being while maintaining work productivity. It's a specific goal. And how you're going to measure it by, you're going to do your steps. Okay, you're going to walk your steps and you're going to track it by your fitness apps. How are you going to achieve it? You're going to start with 6,000 steps and then steadily increase it. And while you're doing that, oh, here comes an experience thing. You're going to delegate lower priority projects because you've learned from your experience how important it is. If you have this goal, you've learned that it's important to stick with it, and that you've learned by now. I hope you all have learned by now that you can and do delegate. Okay. So you can delegate lower priority things and make this a higher priority. This is relevant to you because health supports you to thrive in all areas at this life stage. And you recognize now through your transitions and the changes that you've experienced, the loved ones you've lost, the sicknesses you've gone through, or you've seen others, you now recognize the value and the importance of being healthy and your well-being that you didn't give a thought to when you was in your 20s, okay, or when you was in your 35 or so, okay. So it becomes more relevant and it's timely because you're going to ramp up your steps over 3 months and you're going to review your progress on a quarterly basis. And so this, again, demonstrates the insight that you've gained from your midlife journey. Knowing that health is so key and important. And so if you were creating a goal relative to health at 25 or at 36, it probably wouldn't have the high level of priority or understanding or experience of how important your well-being and health is, so that you can move and groove and live and have an exciting next chapter. So this is why I wanted to share the myths and the types of transitions we talk about, and some examples about how you can set your goals using this insight framework, which really it means to infuse your goals with what you value the most, to see transitions change as opportunities for growth, but more important, for self reflection, to gain insight into what you value most, your true priorities, to apply that wisdom as fuel for change, and to tailor your goals to who you're becoming. And with doing this, you can harness all these transitions and changes that are coming to propel your ongoing growth. And so, this framework, I'd like you to try it. I'd like you to think about as you do your next goal setting process. And if you want any help on that goal setting process, you know I love it, I do it. Come on over and join me at elevatenextlevelsuccess.com. I just really get very passionate about helping folks with their goals and their action steps and getting to their what's next. But this perspective, I'd like you to try this insight framework so that you're just not using SMART, the SMART goals, but you're thinking about your values, your experience as you're developing your goals, your action steps, because our lives are always changing. And these twists and turns of our unique journey require that listen, we can approach these twists and turns in one of two ways. We can be fearful of it. We can be, what's going to happen? What am I going to do? I'm approaching living half a century. And you can think about it with trepidation and fear and uncertainty. Or you can think about it as, hey, here I go, next century, next act. What impact am I going to create now? I'm going to learn a lot. It's going to be tough, but I've come through a lot. I'm going to do this. So, how you approach this midlife in terms of your career, your family, and yourself matters, your mindset. And that's why I wanted to come to you today and talk about reinvention of yourself in the context of these life changes that are happening, and how you can use goals that you work with all the time and shifting them. So, hey, infuse your goals with your self knowledge, your values, your passions. Craft the goals that really speak to you and in all your complexity. And, enjoy the starting the next chapter filled with potential, because, you already got everything you need for the journey ahead. It's just about getting ready for it and approaching it. So now go write your second act, make it count, and make it yours. All right. So let's see what I hope you all got some value from this, my teaching this morning. I see we've got tons of comments, and let me say hello to my dear friend, Dr. Leno. How are you, Michelle? Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you so much. So glad you um, joined us. And as always, to my dear friend, Donna, and thank you for joining. And there's so many folk who's saying that they got it, they yes with it. Good, good, good. So let me say hello to Bernadette and Donna, Michelle again, Victoria, Kenya. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Um, Tell me, how are you, Miss Man? Oh, you say yes, that is where you are in your life. An empty nester. How you feeling? How you feeling these days? What you doing with your life? I know you got great plans, right? I'd love to hear what you're doing and how's it going for you. And Michelle shared with us that she definitely see that when married or coupled, really don't know what to do as a single, more mature and not necessarily club person in personal life. Well, that's what I am now, Michelle, a single woman. See, I transitioned into widowhood right after I lost my husband. And, that was a stage there. And then now, though, I'm a single woman, and I see that as really different. My life has changed. It's no longer the duo. Everything I do, I ask myself permission. I check with myself. Don't have someone else to really check with to get permission, etc. So there's so much joy that you can find in this. And I think as a single, mature woman who, you know, doesn't see or want a, club lifestyle, there's so much more out there for you. And so, one of the things I would suggest you think about doing is a legacy map. Now, a legacy map, and I do this with my clients, is where you identify all of the things that you've accomplished, all of the skills that you've learned, and all of the lessons that you've passed on to others. And I call it a legacy map because it traces your life and what you've accomplished, but it also is what you bring to the world, your table, what you've brought to the table, and actually mapping that out as a legacy. Because certainly, Michelle, what you've learned, what you've done, I know can be passed on to others. But once you do that, then you take the step, Michelle, of okay, so what's in here that I want to continue? What can I do more of? What are some of the dreams that I have that I haven't had before? I haven't been able to implement. I've had them, but I haven't been able to implement. But I think this is a fabulous time for you, Michelle. And if you want to talk about that more, come on over and join me at Elevate Next Level Success. I'd love to talk to you about that and talk about how ways that you can, have a vibrant second life, what you're doing now, be vibrant. So thank you for sharing and for being vulnerable about that. Appreciate that. So many, oh, here's my so many of my, so many, Donna and Catherine, welcome. And yes, I wanted to make sure that we talked about the myths in things. And I love this conversation that goes on between and among us as we have our conversation. So Bernadette, who's my baby, how you doing, Bernadette, is relating to my other baby, Donna Murray Brown, who I just adore and has done such great, wonderful leadership things. And she's talking about their experiences that they've had in moving from Michigan to someplace else. And in Bernadette's case, it's to Denver. And oh my goodness, it was during COVID. That's right. It's but Bernadette, I know you learned so much from that. I really do. And Bernadette and Donna, so your new city, I remember when you moved and all your girl, we need to talk because I know you and I know all the experience and leadership and skills you have. Come on, girl, let's talk. Let me help you with that, getting a new job. Please give me a call. You know we've been there together. I can do that. And so I just want to say hello also to April and Victoria. Dr. Pierce, I just love you so much. I just love you. And I just love having you here and always there. And so you're there now, scheduled paychecks to when does it come? See, I'm telling you. See, Dr. Pierre is referring to the comment I made about working for someone and getting that check every 2 weeks. I mean, they just gave you so much freedom, financial freedom. You could do your thing. But when you jump over into entrepreneurship, when's it coming? Right. And again, my jump was in my late 60s. So I wasn't jumping as a young spring chicken, though I am. Okay. But, as I told you before, I wasn't jumping like I was 30, like I could when I was 30. Okay. So that's some real deal. That's some real deal talk. How you doing, Victoria? Good to see you. Sure. Oh, I'm so glad you're with us. Good morning. Absolutely to you. We have folk joining us from Texas and Denver and Detroit and all over. And um, Bridget, how are you? Are you joining us from the UK? Oh, from Ghana. Oh my goodness, from Ghana. Thank you so much and welcome. Yes, I saw the ACIUK after your name. So that's why I immediately went to UK until I saw the Ghana. Please tell me what that is after your name. That is wonderful. Welcome, Bridget. I'm so glad that you're here. Have I said hello to Tiara? Good morning. I'm hoping I'm saying hello to everyone that I haven't um, missed. Anyone, all my Detroit folk, and I see we've got some new comments. And oh, yes. And so Donna is in Kentucky. Oh, welcome. Hey, DeAndre Ford. Hello from Detroit. Great live, Dr. Williams. Thank you, DeAndre, for being here. Appreciate you. So glad you're joining us. And thank you so much. Yes, and good, good. I'm so glad you did. Oh, and Dr. Pierre, you like that idea, the legacy map. It has, it really has changed uh, the perspectives of the clients that I've worked with and given insights that they hadn't even thought about it. But you hit. I used to talk about it from a perspective of um, identifying your your accomplishments, your skills, what you've done, and do it in a list. But as I begin to think about it and really remember my midlife, I really thought about it. Really is a journey, and I thought it would be interesting in graphically mapping out that journey. Can't you see it? That journey and the milestones that and the accomplishments that you've gained and the skills that you had, but actually mapping that out and using that in a lot of ways. You can use that as your vision board to give you that good confidence, because you put it up there and look and say, oh, what I did, look where I am, you know and put it right next to the vision board that says, here's what I want to be. But also, it really, for me, I'm just going to tell you, and then we're going to close it out. I know we've been going, there's just so many comments and everything. But I'm going to tell you, for me, um, looking back at a legacy and recognizing that, you know, I've done some stuff, and we all have. You have done some stuff, some important stuff, and it matters. And it matters in your life journey. And so displaying that, putting that out, putting it graphically so that you could look at it, and it helps you embrace, at least it did for me. It helped me embrace my next, gave me more confidence, um, gave me more, I can do this. I can do this because I did that. What I'm saying. So, we could go on and on. I don't want to keep you here long. And Just love you all and thank you so much for being here. And listen, if you have not joined me over at Elevate Next Level Success, I would love for you to do that. And I would also, and here's something else I would like you to do. I'd like you to invite a friend, someone, a colleague, someone who could benefit from our conversations and the teaching that I do and the words that I give. And I'd like you to invite them to join us every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. That would just be um, so wonderful. And thank you. And I think we'll close out with Bernadette's comment about it's amazing how our journey, the experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, cross each other to inspire one another. Now, see, that's the whole point of what I'm talking about. You've got the riches. Go on out there and do your second act with vibrancy. Mwah. See y'all. Join me over in Elevate Next Level Success. I want to see you over there. Thank you. See you next week.